Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announced this morning a change in their overall monetary policy to try to create inflation. That's right, create inflation. Three big implications for you. I've got those coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, turn on notifications and smash that thumbs up button. The Fed, Jerome Powell, chairman, delivered a virtual speech today from Jackson Hole where he was explaining the new Fed's policy and basically recapping how their strategy has gone thus far. Over the past week or so, the rumor mill has been flying around the financial news saying, you know what, I actually think the Fed's going to announce that they want to create inflation. And sure enough, the highlight is the Fed basically came out and their analysis over the past several years has shown that, well, we've been targeting inflation around 2%, trying to keep prices stable around 2%. And the word is it's averaging about 1.6. It's now a unanimous decision by the Fed to change their policy to strike an average inflation of 2%. And in order to move it from 1.6 up to an average of 2, we need to create inflation. And they're going to employ some new tools, some unique strategies to try to create inflation moving forward so that an average rate is around 2%. Folks like me that have concerns about, gosh, trying to create inflation, we don't want inflation to run wild like we had back in the 80s. And sure enough, Jerome Powell said, no, we got that under control. We will not hesitate if we start to see inflation heating up. I don't know if I can trust it. I trust him like I trust all government. But the address was well delivered, and believe it or not, I sort of like the strategy, but there are three big implications that you need to be aware of. And the very first is that the Fed saying we want to create a little above average inflation so that our average rate evens out, that means the Fed is going to continue to pour it on. The Fed is going to continue to pour it on and do everything they can to continue to lift the economy, heat up the economy, and what that means is push the stock market as high as they can possibly go. All right? So the Fed basically has come out and said, we're going to continue to be a backstop to the economy and try and heat the economy up. And if the stock market is a leading indicator of the economy and the Fed's trying to heat the economy up, the stock market, even though it's wildly expensive at the moment, the Fed basically came out and said, we're going to try and keep the stock market high and push it even higher. That's the first implication that I see. Does that mean you go risk on? No. Make sure your overall risk tolerance is connected to your overall financial plan. But that's the first implication. Second, and this is the one I'm worried about, the Fed has come out and said we're going to keep interest rates at or near zero for the next year or two. This week, a professor at Harvard said they wouldn't be surprised if the Fed kept interest rates at zero for 5 years. And let me remind you, Jerome Powell, this Fed chairman, is the same one that lowered interest rates, not this year, yes, he did that too, but 2 years ago when the stock market was at an all-time high, when we got the very first glimpse of, well, maybe the economy is not as strong as we thought. This Fed chairman didn't hesitate at all to lower interest rates. So by them saying now we're going to create inflation at a time when they've already promised to keep interest rates low, we are going to have a lot of negative real rates of return out there. Negative real rates of return. If you have a fixed investment that is a CD at the bank, cash in the bank, a bond investment that is paying less than 3%, if we have inflation getting above 2, you are very safely signing up to lose money. If inflation goes above 2% and you're locking in an interest rate of 1, you are losing money. You're doing so very safely, but you are losing money. So you've got to watch out for your fixed investments. That's the second implication. The Fed has basically said, we're going to let inflation outpace interest rates for a while. So you've got to watch out about having too much money in the bank, too much money in CDs. Now I know that is very stable investments. This is why, again, you need to be working with your certified financial planner. This also leads back to number one, which this alone could mean even more money is attracted to the stock market, bidding prices up even higher. But for you, you need to watch out for very safely losing money. Okay? Because the Fed has said we're going to push inflation high and keep interest rates low. Watch out. Okay? That's negative. That's a way of getting negative interest rates without needing to go negative interest rates. Right? Now, the third implication, bubble and burst. I think what the Fed has just said is we're going to keep the stock market high by heating up the economy as much as it can take to create inflation. Keep the stock market high. We're going to keep interest rates low, continuing to draw money into the stock market. And at some point, they're going to have to start raising interest rates. If they want inflation, at some point, they're going to have to start raising interest rates. And at some point, they're going to need to say, all right, that's enough inflation, and back off their policy. And what's that mean? Burst in the overall stock market. The Fed is saying we want to continue to create a bubble because we need inflation. And whenever they say, all right, that's enough, burst, okay? So you need to watch out for bubble and burst. So therefore, if you don't have a momentum strategy, if you're taking too much risk, or if you're very worried about another quick and swift downturn, you need to make sure you're working with your certified financial planner and have a momentum strategy, a strategy in to capture as much upside as you can, but try to protect as much as possible if and when there's a burst. There's no perfect system. There's no perfect system out there, but that is the game that the Federal Reserve is playing right now. And if you're not playing a similar strategy, not game, strategy in your investments, you're going to be set up to be disappointed. Disappointed because I'm not capturing as much of the upside, and disappointed because I just took the entire downside. The Fed has basically said the music is playing, there's not enough chairs, but we're going to keep the music playing here. At some point, we'll stop the music, and hopefully everyone can find a seat. That is dangerous. Make sure you're working with your certified financial planner. So whenever the music stops, you've got a chair, right? If you don't have a certified financial planner or are questioning your overall investment and financial approach, given this new paradigm the Fed has just introduced, you can always contact our team at Korhorn Financial Group. Find us online, korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. Or wisemoneyshow.com, you'll find us there as well. Or give us a call, 574-247-5898. But there you go. Those are the implications. So watch out. The stock market's likely going to continue to push higher because of what the Fed's doing. Be very careful. Real yields are negative, and they'll stay negative for a while. And the Fed has basically said, bubble and burst, we're willing to risk it. There you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.